Hi, I'm Peace Mitchell. Welcome to AusMumpreneur TV, the show that combines motherhood and business to help you create your dream life. We're back at the gorgeous Melbourne Intercontinental today, and we're going to be sharing with you the secrets to success from a fabulous mompreneur that we really admire and look up to. Our focus for today is relationships, and we'll be talking about ways to really grow your relationships with your VIP clients. Our guest today is Danielle Story of $1 Million Relationships. Danielle realised the importance of relationships during her journey with the international success story, the Cartridge family, and took that knowledge one step further through implementing systems to grow customer loyalty in a traditionally price-driven industry. Her focus on customer service has resulted in loyal customers, raving fans, and a highly profitable and successful business. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure to be here.
So Danielle, you have an amazing $1 million business, you have great work-life balance, and your customers love you. You make it seem so easy. Has it always been like that?
No. No. A lot of people say to me, so when was the point that you became instantly successful? And I think probably instantly over about 10 years. I've been in business for 14 years with my beautiful, amazing, wonderful husband, and we didn't always feel that way about each other. There's something about poverty that is hard in a relationship and brings out the worst in everybody. And I would probably say the last maybe 4 to 5 years have been absolutely fantastic. So no, it hasn't always been easy. And I guess for me, a lot of it's been my self-development that has taken that transition from not easy to now it's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Excellent. So you have a dedicated office these days, but you work from home a lot too. How do you keep focus when you are working from home?
It's a tough thing. In the beginning, what we found a lot of the time, we had our front room, so we'd taken the carpet out, we'd taken all the furniture out. We had printer cartridges, it was the Cartridge family, and we had printer cartridges from floor to ceiling. I remember when we decided that amazing discussion that we would start selling reams of paper. So we had reams of paper all up and down the hallway, and so the hallway went from being this wide to about this wide. It's good for weight loss. We had trouble because what would happen is we'd get up in the morning and we'd go to the office in the front room and check the check the mail or check the Facebook or check the email, and then all of a sudden on a Saturday it'd be midday or 1 o'clock. And yes, it's great because you've got the kids in the house and they can come and go and whatever, but it's Saturday. One of the best things we did, I'd tucked away a very small amount of money some years ago. It was $10,000. I'd put it in a bank account, and it was meant for all sorts of grand holiday ideas. And what we did was an AMP thing, and the AMP thing had a bit of an issue. And I thought, well, why don't we build a shed? So we built a shed outside, and for the last 4 to 5 years of the business at home, so we moved out at year 12, and for the last 4 or 5 years we had a shed, and it was a double car garage with a single car extension size out the back, so single wide but the same length back again. And of course David got his little tool shed, and then we had a plasterer come in and plaster just the inside of that single car section. Obviously we needed an air conditioner. We got all that done for that amount of money, and it absolutely transformed the value of a house but got us out of the house. And of course the celebration of that was the minute we got out of the house we could get staff, because having staff in the front room of the house it's just not viable. It's bad enough having them use the kitchen and the bathroom and all of those things. So for us, the key to working successfully from home and having a few staff to help us, and part-time staff, was to be able to walk out, lock the garage door, and then not be tempted to go back in. And really, I mean, today we've got, I don't know, you've got an iPad, I've got an iPad and my brand new phone, and we've got a little computer inside, and we've got the TV connected to the computer. So there's not as much reliance on having one computer in the house and having to go into the office. So that helps as well. Not being reliant upon that one computer, and I'll just do some work while I'm there. I recommend to anybody, lock the door, walk away. Yeah.
Excellent. So today we're talking about relationships. So tell us about why relationships are so important to you and their significance in business.
Well, I think the first and most important relationship is the relationship you have with yourself. But most people, and I think women are worse at this maybe as a major gender than men, will try and build a relationship with somebody else to make them feel better and because we're enrichers, that's what we do. We want people to feel great about themselves. So we spend all this time and effort building a relationship with somebody else, making sure they feel great, but really taking away from our own enjoyment and our own peace and harmony. And the relationship with somebody else is entirely dependent on how we feel. So if we're busy filling up everybody else, then, and that can be customers, for example. If you're busy running around after customers who don't pay you enough money, then resentment slides in. And resentment, I believe, is the biggest killer in any relationship. And so the key to having a great relationship with staff, I believe certainly with family and with customers, is about focusing on relationship with the self. So it's kind of like, I want to love you, but I will love you because I love myself. And I want to say no to you because I love myself. So I think the relationship first with the self enables us to have great relationships with other people. And then all of a sudden customers fly through the door because they want to be around people that love themselves. It's a little airy-fairy, but it works.
Excellent. Okay, well, I know that systems have played a huge part in your success with customer service and with your relationships. What systems do you use in your business, and how did these systems come about?
Well, I'm a massive believer that it's easier to look after the customers you have than go out and chase the customers that you don't. And, you know, it's kind of focus on what you've got mentality. The systems that we put into place help us to process time after time orders and fulfill what we have to do so that the customer that we already have is constantly delighted. We see it so often in business. I mean, I've just got a new mobile phone, for example, enticed because I'm a new customer to the new brand. But what about the people that have been using that brand for a year? They're pretty much ignored by most big companies. Will ignore the people they've got and put out a special deal to bring new customers in, because they think new customers equals bigger revenue and bigger success. Instead, we've put into systems into place like an annual system, which is an annual delight system, which is tied around birthdays, a transactional delight system, which means with every transaction, with every customer, they receive a small sweet treat from us without fail. And then when we screw things up, as some companies do, I'm sure every company does, we have a sorry system in place, which means we can quite honestly say, look, I'm really sorry, we mucked up, let us fix the problem, and here's our way of saying we're really sorry. And those kind of systems are what means that our existing customers, who are by far the easiest people to market to, become loyal and raving fans, and in being loyal and raving fans, bring people back with them. And I would have to, I'm just in the middle of doing all the figures, and I'll get you the final figures, but it's somewhere between 70 and 80% of our business is by referral.
Wow, that's impressive. So networking is also something I know that you're passionate about. Why do you think networking is so important for business owners?
Gets lonely running a business on your own. I think first and foremost it gets people out learning. I mean, there's some great network groups out there that have speakers and educational pieces that help us to grow a better business. So from an education point of view, I think it's important. And I think simply from a touch point of view, it's not just networking with someone who might potentially become the next joint venture or the next piece of list that you might market to, or maybe the next customer, although that's the worst reason to go networking. It's great to go networking with people who are your customers and put yourselves in their circle so that you're constantly touching them, not literally, but you're constantly touching them and saying, I care about you, I respect you, I like you. And people do business with people they like. You know, networking was a hard thing for me because, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a bit of a high I extrovert. And high I extroverts sometimes, okay, nearly all the time, want to talk. They always want to talk about themselves. And when you're out networking, nobody goes networking to buy. People go networking either to sell or to build relationships. The building relationships is the better option. And so if we go to a networking event, as I did in the beginning, and buy my stuff, listen to me, hear what I've got to say and do nothing about following up, then it's not as successful as perhaps a very successful introverted networker might come in and say, well, tell me about you. Tell me about the challenges in your workplace or your office space or your home office or your issues with what's going on with your family in business. And then taking notes on that and then going back and then following up with those details. Networking works really well for introverts. I strongly believe that. I'm very quickly learning introverted techniques with networking.
Excellent. Well, Danielle, if you could provide one tip for our audience in relation to running a business, what would it be?
Gee, there's so many. I mean, I like to, when I get out and speak to business owners, I'm often talking about systems, putting systems in place, making sure that you can identify your customer and know who you want to spoil and know why you want to spoil them and all of those things. But that's a business tip, and a lot of people are giving a lot of business tips. The one key that perhaps I would say, the one tip, learn to love yourself. Learn to really look in the mirror and think, I like who I am. I'm a good person. I don't always get it right all the time, but ultimately I love myself, because people buy from people they like, and likable people like themselves. That would be my one tip.
Nice, that's excellent. So we might have a bit of a chat about marketing. So what marketing and promotions have you done that have worked really, really well for you? Has there been any particular campaigns or ideas?
It's really interesting. The last maybe 5 years I've focused very much on the existing customers and raving fans, and that's not even putting loyalty programs into place. A lot of people say if you've got an existing database and you're looking after them, then put a loyalty program in place and they'll bring people. We don't even do that. And every business needs a new influx of customers it makes it exciting. As salespeople, we kind of like looking at the bright, shiny object. So one of the things, marketing programs that I implemented into place was sponsoring events and exhibiting at those sponsorship of events. So throughout a year, we might sponsor anywhere from 5 to 15 events. And that basically means we're paying money to an organisation, and in some cases I'll trade speaking for instead of money, so there'll be that exchange. Spending money with an organisation so that I can be introduced in a trusted environment to the tribe of that business or that organisation. That way, and if I come up with a promotion that's cool and fun and funky, everybody wants to come and talk to me. I'm really clear on my target market that I want to talk to. And so therefore, when they come to me, I know who is my target market. I enter them into my data collection process. And then the three most important things you have to do is follow up, follow up, and follow up. And so sponsoring and exhibiting at sponsored events has probably been, well, has without a doubt been, in terms of a client acquisition marketing strategy, the most successful. Far more successful than Yellow Pages advertising, far more successful than radio, which we dipped our toe in the water, in newspaper advertising and other forms of advertising. And because as a result of that, I was exhibiting at an event, and Warwick Merry came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and he said, I teach exhibiting and I love what you do. Will you join me teaching other people how to do it? And so then we set up the Exhibiting and Sponsorship Institute, and it's flying. So I've got my couple of brands that I'm juggling and trying very hard to stay focused, teaching other people how to sponsor and exhibit. Yeah.
Excellent. So my final question for today is, if you could go way back to the beginning of when you started the Cartridge family, what would you do differently?
Oh, gee, not going to business with family. Working husband and wife team, it's really hard. What would I do differently? I'd have got a coach very early on. I wouldn't have waited 5 to 6 or 7 years to find a mentor or a coach. I would have started working on myself rather than blaming the people around me for the problems a whole lot earlier. And I probably would have got capital investment. So I would have made better decisions. Instead of trying to grow organically, I would have gone out and sponsored events early and then followed up, or paid for the networking events, rather than thinking, I need to leave that a bit because I can't afford it. So yeah, develop myself with a mentor first from the beginning, and then so that I got all the right things, and then of course invested more money into the business with a good plan, of course.
Thank you so much for chatting with us, Danielle. It's been wonderful, and congratulations on all of your success with your businesses.
Thank you.